Imagine this. You walked into a shop and another guy walked into the same shop. You purchased something and that guy purchased exactly an identical thing. You were charged a price. But wait, that guy was charged a much lower price than what you paid. Why? Because the seller simply felt that you could afford the higher price, so he decided you should be charged more. Whoa, isn't this discrimination, you might ask? Is this legal? Can this happen in real life? Well, the answers are yes, yes, and yes. First, this is indeed a form of discrimination, known as the price discrimination. Second, unlike other forms of discrimination, it is considered lawful in most cases, though whether it is ethical is debatable. Finally, you don't need to think too hard before realizing that price discrimination happens frequently in our lives. One example is car dealerships selling identical new cars at totally different prices to different customers. Also, you and your neighbor are probably paying different prices for the same type of internet connection provided by the same company. Another example is identical drugs manufactured by the same pharmaceutical company are often sold at different prices to patients in different countries. This video will explain what price discrimination is, why sellers do it, how they do it, and finally, as a customer, what you may do to avoid being the victim of price discrimination. Price discrimination refers to the same seller selling the same products or services at different prices to different customers or different groups of customers based on their willingness or ability to buy. Why do sellers use price discrimination? The short answer is doing so increases their profit. To better understand this, let's consider a simplified example. Suppose you run a car dealership and are selling a new model of car. You calculated the cost of operating the dealership and determined that $30,000 is your bottom line or break-even price. That is, you make a profit from each car sold over $30,000 and a loss from each car sold below this price. You have two potential buyers. Customer 1 will only buy a car from you if the price is $32,000 or less. If the price is higher, he will leave. Customer 2 is willing to pay $35,000 or less. The reason for his higher willingness to buy might be he has a larger budget or he is particularly in favor of this model. The question is, what price should you ask to maximize your profit? Without price discrimination, one option is to set the price at $32,000. Both customers will accept the price and you can make a total profit of $4,000 by selling two cars. Alternatively, you can set the price at $35,000. Customer 1 will walk away, but you can make a higher profit of $5,000 from customer 2 only. However, with price discrimination, you can boost your total profit to $7,000 by selling a car at $32,000 to customer 1 and another car at $35,000 to customer 2. Implementing price discrimination in practice is more complex than the simplified example shown above. For instance, the seller needs to gauge how much each customer is willing to pay for the product, as the customer may not voluntarily give that information. Meanwhile, the seller needs to hide their bottom line price from the customers. This includes hiding the prices offered to other customers, as revealing such information may expose their bottom line. One straightforward way to do price discrimination is to negotiate with each customer individually. This usually works when selling more expensive things like cars. Another way to do price discrimination is by giving out coupons or discounts occasionally. The customers who are willing to pay more may simply go ahead to purchase at the regular price, while the customers who are more sensitive to price might wait until a coupon or discount brings the price down to their acceptable range. This way, the seller achieves the goal of selling the same product to different customers at different prices. Now you have learned why and how the sellers may implement price discrimination against a customer like you. Next, here are a few tips on how to avoid being the victim of price discrimination. First, gather information. Just as a seller may gauge your willingness to buy, you can gauge their bottom line price to sell. Do some research, shop around, and try to find some data points of the actual prices people are paying for the thing you plan to buy. Second, don't be afraid to walk away. Walking away is the clearest signal to the seller that you are not eager to buy. Sometimes a seller may tell you that a deal will expire if you walk away today. However, the reality is their bottom line price usually depends on the cost of supply, which doesn't change much from day to day. So, in most cases, the deal will remain. Also, be flexible. If you insist on buying a very specific brand or model, or buying at an exact time, the seller may sense your strong willingness to purchase and thus charge you a higher price. Finally, you don't have to worry about price discrimination on everything you buy. Sometimes it's okay to just accept the price offered to you. For example, there is little room for price discrimination when buying something inexpensive or when the price is transparent. Let's summarize what you have learned. Price discrimination is selling the same products at different prices to different customers based on their willingness or ability to pay. Sellers exercise price discrimination to increase their profit. This practice is common and usually legal. There are ways to avoid being discriminated against with higher price. Often, the key is in gathering information while concealing or adjusting your willingness to buy. That's all we have for today. If you find this video informative, please give it a like. Have you experienced any form of price discrimination in your life, and how would you deal with it? Leave a comment to let us know.